Brothers, welcome back to the channel and the occasional sister too. Vitamin D. If you're taking this, there's something else you're going to need to take as well, but we'll get to that very shortly. Anyway, this is a new feature of the channel where we talk about things that can benefit you and make your life better, because that's what this channel's all about. I've been listening this morning to Dr. Michael Cohen, who's a GP in Israel, and he's been treating patients with COVID. He himself also had COVID, a fit man, swims every day, very, very cool, and he got very, very sick with COVID. And he talks about this and why it's so important, not just for COVID, but for your immune system in general. And particularly if you're a person with a dark skin, then you're probably going to need this even more. And we'll talk about that shortly too. But if you're taking vitamin D, of course, you need this one here, K2. It's not like you've got to get the first shot, then you've got the second shot, then you've got the booster. It's just those two there. Why? Because vitamin D does draw the calcium from your bones. The calcium can then end up in your arteries. K2 stops that from happening. I buy the K2 that's got the D3 with it. This is actually a really good one. It's bloody expensive, this one. But anyway, your health is everything, isn't it? Vitamin D generally isn't that expensive, but I think it's the K2 that makes it expensive. It's $70, $80 for that bottle. I take 2 of those a day. Now you can take as much vitamin D as needed. That means, like, if they say like 1,000 IUs a day, you could actually take 5 times that. And the doctor recommends, I think, 4,000 a day, which would be 4 those tablets. That's just his recommendation. That video is in our playlist under COVID on the channel, so you can look at the whole thing and get all the stats. Really interesting to hear that. Also interesting to hear this morning that the new variant, which is broken out in South Africa, Omicron, of the COVID virus, is much more transmissible, but causing a lot less severity in illness. That's such good news, because it could have swung the other way. Could have been that it had a higher mortality rate, could have been like a 40% mortality rate, which would mean that 40% of humanity that was going to come into contact with it would end up dead. But it's gone the other way, and phew, that's really, really lucky. That's just pure luck. We are so fortunate, because viruses can go either way. So that was cool news to hear this morning. But getting back to the vitamin D, get some of this into you. Really, really important. I lost one of my friends who's a musician in Auckland. He was Samoan. He died of COVID. He was at home. He was self-isolating. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. Called the ambulance. By the time the ambulance got there, he was dead. I know 3 people that have had COVID that have either ended up very, very sick, plus my mate who's passed away. That's actually 4 that I know of. And right now we have it in our community here where I live in Mapua, Nelson and Wakefield, all this area. There's COVID is here. There's new cases every day, and it's going to keep on coming. So get your vitamin D into you. I don't know why the government doesn't push this, because there's so much information out there now on that, and on zinc, but particularly vitamin D. Well, zinc too is also important as well. But vitamin D seems to be the thing I keep hearing again and again from doctors that are in the field working with patients. I think it's amazing that Dr. Michael Cohen, he had like 2,000 clients that he's looking after, all with COVID, and none of them ended up in ICU when he prescribed large doses of this. That's today's feature, or the feature I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it daily, but I'm going to do it every time something comes to me. The next thing I'm going to talk about on the following video after this, that will be the supplement or vitamins. I'm going to talk to you about CoQ10. But for today, that was what I want to talk about, vitamin D. Get it into you. Look after yourself. Check on a brother, but check on yourself first, because you can't check on your brothers if you're not around to be well and checking on them. I'm going to crank into my day. Go steady, and we'll see you in the next video. See you later.